Welcome to the CWC podcast with your host, David Selby, Justin Reed, and Andy Horton.
All right, welcome to the CWC podcast, the official podcast of the Chuckwagon channel. We are your go-to for Chuckwagon racing news, rumors, interviews, and stories. I'm your host, David Selby, joined by my co-hosts, Justin Reed and Andy Horton. We are coming to you live from the Eoff Ranch, the home of the National Championship Chuckwagon races. And we are in front of a sizable crowd. If the cameras were turned around, you would see we have thousands of people standing out here in front of us.
Thousands of people here, actually.
And we are joined by our special guest, Dapple Eoff. How's it going, Dapple?
It's going good. Going good.
We're glad to have you here. We're recording on a Wednesday, August 28th, and tomorrow we will finally start the weekend of races with the rookie runoff. But before we get into all that, I want to ask you to take a moment to subscribe and relive the ride on the Chuckwagon channel. Go to chuckwagonchannel.com. It's $11 a month or $99 a year. If you sign up on the Chuckwagon channel at the booth right here at the saloon, you'll get a free Chuckwagon channel t-shirt while supplies last. If you're already subscribed, you still want a shirt, well, you still have to pay something, but you get a discount. So come on over, get that shirt. We've also got some stickers and drink coasters and koozies that we can send you home with. The kids love the stickers. We'd love to hand them out. So come over here. Those are free. Make sure you come back and see us Friday morning, 10 a.m. We're going to have our first ever pre-race show right here, 10 a.m. Stop by. And then we'll also have another show after the races at 5 p.m. That's the plan for right now. Keep an eye on social media in case anything changes. But additionally, we'll be back Sunday morning, 10 a.m., Championship Sunday, 10 a.m., and we'd love to see you here in person. It'd be a lot of fun to have you. We release episodes every Thursday on the Chuckwagon channel for our subscribers to enjoy, and then we share publicly on Friday on YouTube and YouTube Music. Our episodes are always pre-recorded and edited for Justin's profanity. So make sure you relive the ride at chuckwagonchannel.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube using the handle at Chuckwagon Channel. How's everybody doing today?
Wonderful.
Doing good?
Doing great. Glad to be on the Eoff.
He's not going to stop picking on you, is he?
No, never. Come on now.
It's been a good start to the week for me. We're here Wednesday. The gates opened Saturday, right, Dapple?
Yes, the gates opened Saturday at 8 a.m., and from what I heard, it was a record Saturday.
Yeah, well, I know for me personally, I got in Sunday afternoon, and every time I just step foot anywhere on the ranch, I'm seeing more people than what I experienced last year and years before that at the same time. So it's pretty cool. Good example, best example would be Monday night. I feel like as far as a fun, adrenaline-fueled event that's going on early in the week, it's the rodeo, and just trying to find parking on a Monday night at the rodeo, it was the hardest I've ever had finding a spot. And I had to drive all the way past the arena, back behind, and basically start a new row of parking, like 4 or 5 deep. So that tells me that's an indicator, I think, that we're gonna see a lot of people here this year, or at the very least, everybody just decided, hey, we need to be here the whole week. And I think we see more and more people doing that every year. So kudos, whatever you guys are doing to promote this thing. It's working.
Thank you, Chuckwagon Channel.
and yesterday, another indicator was I talked to the guy that was doing the catfish, and he said he cooked 750 pounds.
Yes, I think they fed close to 1,500 people, and it was huge. The line to get to the food was the longest I've ever seen it.
It was incredible.
Yeah, they're already trying to figure out where they can kind of add some space at the park so that we can get more people in next year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, and it never stopped. It felt like we got there, and usually I feel like when I show up at 5 or whatever, like because we drive over there, I'm like, okay, well, I can see that everybody got here in good time. The line is long. There's a lot of people, and within 20 or 30 minutes, we're able to go through the back of the line. We grab some food. It's a great thing, but we were there for a solid hour, and that line was still going. And at least I think from years past, they did learn that they should bring more than enough food just in case. Yes. It's like the whole town could show up and they're ready to feed them. But it was really great. So kudos to the town of Clinton for putting that on. Kudos to the First Baptist Church of Clinton for supplying the personnel. and
Catfish Farmers of America.
Catfish
They sponsor
Farmers
of Arkansas. Yeah.
of Arkansas. And then the last one that I want to make sure everybody knows is the proceeds from that goes to a charitable cause. And I don't remember what it is.
It's the Clinton Senior Center, the Van Buren County Center for Aging. So it goes all to the senior citizens programs in the county.
Yes, Dapple's grandparents.
True.
Okay.
But
Definitely not us.
yeah.
I did want, speaking of sponsors, we have a sponsor for today's show. You'll see this hat in front of me here with the HH on it. Stands for... Can anybody? Hogs and Heifers. Everybody kind of knows about them now. They are the sports bar and grill down there on the square here in Clinton, and they're a new bar and grill here in town. The owner Dave, I met him, and he was extremely hospitable towards us. The food was great, and we just struck up a conversation, and he was telling us just how everybody has been so receptive to what they're doing, and the Chuckwagon racers that have come in there have been fantastic. So we ate there, Dakota and I ate in there, and we really enjoyed it. So we recommend that you get down there, give Dave a pat on the back because he's doing a really good thing down there.
Absolutely. The city of Clinton's lucky to have them.
Yeah, and if you like sports, they have over 40 televisions in there. They gave me a specific number that...
I think it's 44.
44. It's exactly 44.
It's exactly 44.
So they had a reason for doing that because they wanted to be the best. They've got the most TVs out of anybody down there, and so I think in future years I could see them, maybe showing some Chuckwagon content in there and stuff. As everybody knows, we don't nationally broadcast the Chuckwagon races, but there's a lot of other good content that I think we could show in there, and they just have their arms wide open to everybody in the Chuckwagon community. So we're thankful for them. Okay, wanted to also let people know again, get on the Chuckwagon channel. Episode 1 from the Great Wagon Race Season 1 is streaming for free. So if you've never been on the Chuckwagon channel, go on there, take in some free content from the races last year, and if you like it, get on board. And we'll have Season 2 that we're filming this week while we're here, and we're excited about that. We're doing more of a focus on the buckboard. We've kind of let everybody know that. So as you see us out there just running around those wagons down there in the track in our orange shirts, don't worry about us. We'll be okay, hopefully. It's going to be a little bit crazy this year. We've got about a dozen people that are going to be here filming on the ranch during the races, and we're going to cover it really well. So we're excited to tell that story. Okay, so now you get a formal introduction, Dapple.
Perfect.
She's the daughter of Dan and Peggy Eoff, and she's a big part of the National Championship Chuckwagon races. As the secretary, Dapple has been an integral part of everything that's happening here on the ranch. What you see happening, what you don't see happening, the people that are complaining about things, the people that need something. Dapple catches a lot of that stuff, and she takes care of people, and if you're not hearing about it, it's probably a good thing, and I don't think you really do, because things go pretty smooth throughout the week down here, knock on wood.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're just going to open this up here. Dapple, how long have you been coming to the races?
24 years. 36 years I have been alive. So the races are actually older than I am.
Man, so for those who don't know, it's the 39th annual this year. So,
It is.
so this your 30? What does that add up to? Is this your?
I'm only 36 years old, so it'd have to be.
Okay, yeah.
So I missed.
Oh, but you said you missed.
I missed 2.
You missed 2, and when you're growing up and you have all these people come into your front yard, backyard, and they just take the place over for a week. What was that like growing up, experiencing this every year?
It's still really awe. It just puts me in awe every year how many people come to our place. But it's grown so gradually. It's not like everybody just showed up at once. So I think that kind of helped us ease into it. The first few years when I was a baby, so I've never known anything different. I think it'd honestly be weirder if it didn't happen for me. But the slow growth I do think helped, not shock us all. So. Yeah. It is funny though. A lot of people think our house is like a store or a museum or something, and so we'll be in there getting ready for the day, and they'll be looking in the windows, and I'm like, "Hi,
Right.
y'all go to the kitchen, but not here."
Well, and it's also like, but what's crazy also is like I know your parents, especially your dad, is like just so open arms to everybody.
Open arms, yes, absolutely.
And so it's almost like, I mean, it feels like there's just this open door policy everywhere that I ever go on this ranch.
And there is. It is an open door policy, and it is year round. That's one of the things he tells people. If you're back through here in October, stop in. Ranch is open. You want to come trail ride, come trail ride. Just you'll have to close and open gates, but other than that, it's about the same.
Yeah. So I'm curious to know, when everybody leaves the ranch, everybody goes home, it's got to be a little bit different feeling than it is that whole week before. What's that feeling like when everybody goes home?
That's the only thing I can say. It's like a relief that we made it. I think we're so tired. The ranch looks different, so it's a little overwhelming. It's a little sad, but mostly it's just kind of a relief that we make it through the week and everybody leaves. Most people leave happy, on a good year. So I don't know if it's accomplishment or what the thing would, a lot of emotion, I guess. A lot of emotions the week after the wagon races.
Yeah.
I think we just kind of roller coaster straight down into all of them.
Yeah. So
12 stages of grief.
So you guys, you finally get everybody out of here. You round up all the stray animals that people probably left here.
We do get a dog or two every now and then. They usually come back for them.
And when all the dust settles, though, I'm curious to know when is it back to work? When are you really picking it back up again every year to start moving toward the next annual?
We start working on our music almost immediately. It's getting so competitive, and a lot of these bigger venues have no compete contracts with their artists, so they can't play within so many miles of the venue within so many days. And so we really have to kind of get a jump on whatever music we decide. But then it's mostly just work putting the ranch back together for the cattle operation. Putting the fences up, getting the fertilizer in here, getting all the trash up and there's usually not much trash, but just getting all that put back together, that's the hardest work in the fall. Then after the first of the year, we really start kind of putting everything together and working on everything, getting our timeline in order for our deadlines and where we need to be and when the papers need to go out for everybody. So we get a couple months off from the actual races, but I'm not so sure that it really is because it's still recovery from races. Putting the ranch back together is a big deal. So my dad can start buying his cattle and getting all the cross fencing back up, so.
Yeah, I think it would surprise people the amount of work that goes into not only preparing the ranch, like taking things down to make the ranch work for people, and then getting it set up again for cattle.
Yes, absolutely. We are very blessed with cowboys that help us year round and work at the ranch, but between 3 or 4 of them that work all the time, 6 to 7 days a week, it probably takes a full 30 to 45 days to get it built back and a full 30 to 45 days to tear it down. So, that doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. It's a lot of work. All the dedication goes into that.
Yeah. So I'm curious about kind of more of what you do, and I want to go back in time just a little bit, maybe even reminisce. When I came here for the first time back in 2009, I believe it was, we maybe looked a little bit different. We were a little younger, a little bit more.
I looked a lot different.
A little more.
I didn't have any kids.
We were maybe a little more sprightly.
A lot more fun.
Yeah, we were at the top of our game, but
absolutely.
But what were your responsibilities like when you first started getting really involved with the races, and how has that evolved to today with what you're doing?
My mom has always had us work. My brother and I, but when I was about 14 is when I started timing. She actually made me a timer, and the races were a lot different then, a little less pressure, I think, back then. But then I had to go to college. So when I was off in college, I didn't get to help as much. I came home for the summers so that I could help work at the store and things like that. But not until I was out of college did I really start getting some serious responsibilities, I would say. I came back to Clinton to work with my family, and that's when they really started putting more of the responsibility as far as the paperwork and the just keep going.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, all the paperwork and helping answer the phone and talk to the racers. They kind of handed me the racers, I think. My mom really takes care of the vendors and the hookups and all of that, and so it's kind of helped them, I think, to just really make if the racers call, most of the time I talk to them.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of the things I have to say, well, I've got to talk to my parents about this, but I'll get back to you. But I'm just kind of the liaison, I would say, between the racers and my mom and dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's probably my biggest responsibility.
Yeah. But I know I've seen you
Just
every year.
Yeah.
Every year we get into this time of the year where it's a little bit more of it becomes more of a frenzy in getting these lineups set for all of the racers and the race teams. And I'm curious to know, from your mouth, what is that process like for you? As like at what point do you really start having to focus really hard on what the heats are going to look like? Start getting the people, I guess signed up and make sure that everything's where it's going to be. And what's that cutoff?
So our books open July 5th, and everybody has to be entered by August 15th. Excuse me. We will start to kind of piece together information whenever people call to enter between those dates. A lot of people will tell us stuff about their teams. Some people don't. We just kind of hear it through the grapevine, whether it's through the association races or new stock that they've bought or stock that they've lost and things like that. So we'll make little notes on their entry forms when they call in. Once they get called in on the 15th, it's just like my mom and I go somewhere really quiet where nobody can talk to us, and we just lay it all out and talk about it. Look at our notes. Some years we do really good and some years we miss stuff. But for the most part, I think that we do a pretty good job.
Yeah, no, I totally
Not
agree. Yeah.
But
no,
we work.
I'll pat you on the back.
We work
I think
really hard at it. It means a lot to us.
Right.
So I'm glad when people say, "Oh, I'm excited about it," or "You did a really good job,"
Yeah.
or "Hey, you messed this up." Like, I know.
especially with what you guys' format is, where you're putting 4 teams into a heat, and it's not that every single team that comes in is expecting to win the buckle. You have teams that they are grandfathered in. It's like a family tradition that they come and they race with their family and their friends, and some of them
Absolutely.
have these huge campsites full of people that race on all these different teams across all these different divisions, and it's an incredible thing. But when you actually watch the races and you see the way these teams are lined up and the heats are set up, and you're seeing races that are maybe slower but competitive,
Super competitive
it
people.
keeps the attention of the audience. And I feel like that's something that it probably starts with your dad, but it's always rang true through all these years, that the entertainment and the production and the show aspect of everything that you guys do is so incredible. And so kudos to you, because the way you guys set these heats up is usually it's really solid. And then we start talking about those later heats where you're starting to stack those faster teams in, and then things get real. But I want to go ahead and touch on what's right in front of us, which is the rookie races.
Rookie races.
We're going to kick off the rookie races
what you did.
tomorrow, breaking
all
in the
you,
weekend. And so we're going to kind of maybe mention a few notables here, and I'm glad you're here because you'll be able to give a little bit of your input on why teams get put where they are, especially when it comes to rookies that a lot of people haven't seen them run. They're showing up. They're showing up. They have maybe certain stock or certain personnel that you have to kind of base it on just whatever you know. And so say like one of the coolest thing about the rookie divisions is versus what's happening in the classics, where like if you're in, you're racing all 3 days. The cool thing about the rookies is they actually are running for something on a Thursday, and that they're actually, like I was mentioning how you have these lower starting heats on championship weekend where it may be competitive in their heat because they're all similarly slow, but at least in the rookie runoff, everybody's racing to try to make it into the weekend. And that's one of the things that's so cool is it's all on the line. Like and they get 2 chances, so you watch that first race, you watch that first time around on Thursday at 1:00, and they shoot them across the field, and if somebody balks at the line, you're like, oh man, the pressure's on. They got one more shot.
Yeah.
And then we go to a pasture open, and then we come back and we do it again. So
I do like that we give them 2 shots. I like that. I think that that's a good format. So my dad came up with that, of course, but I like that. I think that's a cool aspect of it. So they do get a second chance if something happens.
Yeah, and it's a perfect format, really, because obviously you don't have as many teams. You're not putting 180 teams in there.
Yeah,
So to get across an afternoon and have a show, it's a race within a race weekend almost. Like it's its own thing. It stands on its own little island, and I love it for so many reasons because everybody gets that first taste of championship chuckwagon racing. There may be a team in there that could go into the weekend and compete at a really high level, and
absolutely, we've seen that before.
And and it's cool because now if you're the kind of person that's here and you're gambling with your buddy right next to you, or if you're going and you're getting involved with one of these gatherings where you like to put your money where your mouth is, now you've seen some of the competition race already, and it just adds to the fun and adds to the excitement. So I love that part of it, and it does take a whole afternoon. And so for those of us with the fairer skin, we also get to break ourselves into what it's probably going to be like the rest of the weekend, a long afternoon. And yeah, so let's jump to that next division, and maybe rather than read them all off, I'm just going to have maybe let's pull up some notables as we're kind of looking down through here. As you kind of look through those rookie teams, Dapple, maybe what were some of the more interesting stories to you this year coming in? Maybe some teams that you're like, man, maybe because of this or that, they're going to have a real shot at it.
Well, of course, I'm just going to start with the Hickory Plains Outlaws. They bought Larry Garrison's team that's won it the last 2 years. 4 years? Yes, 4-up. Sorry. Yes, so we got to be nuts in the 4-up mules. Hickory Plains Outlaws, they have that team of mules that we have seen that could probably get around the track without 2 drivers. They're just a solid team. So we knew that they would be for sure a factor. And then the rest of them, we really just talked to them and asked kind of what their hopes and dreams were, and if they'd been working their mules. And the Buckeye Bandits, they're local here. I do think that they have all new mules that they just broke themselves, but they're really handy. Colton Holland's dad has raced in the buckboard for 20-something years, 25, 26 years. He's a member of the Gold Buckle Club, so that kid was raised on this track. He outrode for his dad, cooked for his dad his whole life, and he's just decided to get in a little bit more of a driver's seat. So I think they'll be fun to watch.
Awesome. Well, we're excited for the first round of races tomorrow. We know it's going to be fun. We know it's going to be exciting. It's a great day for people to start working out the kinks, not only down on the track, but from an operations standpoint, we've got this whole production team that they're finally really blasting some air through those speakers. You guys are finally putting all of your crew in motion down on the racetrack.
Absolutely, yes.
So how do you guys approach Thursday, and how does that affect the rest of the weekend for you?
Well, and I don't want to say it's a practice day, but it's a lot easier to time 2 teams than it is to time 4 teams. It's a lot easier to catch outriders when you've only got 2 than if you've got 4. So it's good for our staff because we only do this once a year. Our staff doesn't work all these other racers. This is it for them. So most of them have done it for so long that I wouldn't say they get rusty, but it's still nice to have a little bit of a breather to say, okay, wait, well, this stopwatch didn't work. So we get, just so we know we need to get rid of it. Or anything like that, just even the little kinks that happen, it's easier to run a backup on those days. So, because we always try to have a backup watch. It's a lot easier to do when you've got 4 timers and a secretary with 2 teams than it is when you've got 4 teams.
Right. Yeah, and I guess that's that's news to deliver. Yeah, it is only 2 teams.
2 to 3, yeah. So, I mean, that's just a lot easier because we're technically overstaffed for Thursday. But it's just really good for us to get in the swing of things and to do it all.
Yeah, and I guess, that's helping you on the things that are at least predictable, but, a couple of things that aren't predictable, like weather.
The weather.
What's the latest forecast from meteorologist Dapple?
It's not ideal, but we're just gonna pray through it. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna hold off till at least after the races every day. We're gonna get good fast runs. The track's gonna be fine. As dry as the ground is, and as low as the river is, we could handle a substantial amount of rain before it really affected anything. I think.
Good.
I mean, it'll affect it a little, of course, but I don't think that it'll be detrimental. We would need I'm not gonna, dare anybody to drop the rain, but it would take a substantial amount of rain to really affect the property, I think, because it is so dry. The ground's so hard, so I think it'll soak it up a lot faster. And we also have really good guys that do track work. If it rains, we have equipment on site. We have people ready to drag the ditch, to do whatever they need to do to get that track back where it needs to be.
Yeah, well, and for those of you out there that are going to be taking part in the Calcutta, or like I said, your own little gambling circles or betting circles, make sure you know the teams out there that have some good mudders in their group that can run on that mud and stand up tall and handle it, because there's a difference.
Go back to some of those Whiskey Ridge times. It rained all weekend there, didn't it?
Bad.
It was so muddy, bless it.
Right.
So go look at some of those times. Pick those teams.
Yep. So we're seeing there could be a chance of some rain this weekend. We always hope that it doesn't affect too much here, but you can sure bet that as long as it's safe. Depending on, I guess we should define safe. So if the lightning is in, then we're running away.
Yeah, we've delayed, or if it's just a complete torrential downpour, we've delayed before. If the track is too wet in the morning, we've pushed the races back an hour just to give us time to drag it and get the equipment down there, dump some sand in some places to soak it up and drag that off. But hopefully that doesn't happen. I think that there's one day that's a little sketchy, but I'm hoping it hits in the evening.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, then by the morning we'll be fine.
Well, whatever happens, we're going to power through it. We're going to have races.
Absolutely,
we're going to have championship races.
We're cowboys.
That's right. That's right. And so, so make sure the action only gets a little bit better. If there's a little bit of rain, there's a little bit of slipping and sliding out there, you do not want to miss it just because your shirt's going to get wet. You want to be here. You want to see it. You want to take in all the fun, and it's going to be a good weekend. So, with that said, I think we're going to start winding down here, and I want to make sure that everybody knows that on Friday, we're going to be out here at 10 a.m. We're going to be here doing a pre-show. We've never done a pre-show before, and that's going to be a great opportunity for us to really start talking about some of these teams that we know are going to be racing in the weekend that we expect have a good chance of bringing home that buckle. And we really appreciate everybody coming by here and waving at us today as we're doing this show. It's been a good time. So make sure you come over here to our booth at the Chuckwagon Channel booth. If you subscribe here at the booth, we will give you a free t-shirt, and we've also got plenty of stickers and koozies and coasters. Like that kid right there, he needs a sticker.
If you
come over here, we're going to give you a sticker, man.
That's Jet Housley. He's one of our flag kids.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he carries a flag. And Kenna Collins, she carries a flag too.
Future Chuckwagon racers.
There they are. Yeah.
So make sure to relive the ride at chuckwagonchannel.com. We'll have this episode out on Thursday, and we're excited to have all you guys here for the whole weekend of the National Championship Chuckwagon races. We want to thank you again, Dapple, for being here to be a part of this.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
And a final big thanks to our sponsor, Hogs and Heifers Sports Bar and Grill down in Clinton. Make sure you guys go down there and try them out. Not only do they have good food, but they have air conditioning, and they have a great drink menu.
Love the cheese fries.
And
they're good.
And I can personally recommend the grilled chicken nachos, the jalapeno poppers, the fried pickles, the
Parmesan wings,
the jam burger.
Jam burger.
Yeah, I may have tried a few
things.
You gotta go.
So
what
did you waiting on?
Well, we went there and
it's called the sampler. Yeah.
No, it was Well, we sampled all right.
Yeah.
But we had ourselves a good time getting some food in there, and I can recommend them highly based on the experience. So get down there, Dave. I gotta just say, the guy Dave, like he's such a receptive owner to some conversation, and he wants to talk to you, and he wants you to be there. So go in there, tell them that we sent you, and it'll be a good time. They also have a patio on the backside. I should have mentioned that. They have a patio where they have live music and all kinds of good stuff. So get down there to Hogs and Heifers Sports Bar and Grill in Clinton and try them out. And I think that's a wrap. I think that we're going to have to see you guys Friday morning, 10 a.m. We'll see you out on the track.
Thanks for listening to the CWC podcast.